Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the February 4th, 2025 meeting of the Carrboro Town Council. We will start this meeting like we do all others with a poem, and we have a guest poet this evening. He is known as the new Chapel Hill Poet Laureate. He has taken a field trip over to Carrboro, and I will let Liza, our Carrboro Poet Laureate, do the introduction if you would like to. Thank you.
Sure. Please welcome up the new Chapel Hill Poet Laureate. We have Donovan Livingston.
Hey, good evening, family. How's everyone doing tonight? Y'all can do a little better than that. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Happy Black History Month. I bring you greetings from across the way in Chapel Hill. My name is Dr. Donovan Livingston. I am Director of College Thriving at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and Teaching Assistant Professor in the Department of Music. I've been in my role for all of 4 weeks, but really grateful to be sharing this space with you to commemorate a joyous occasion, the start of Black History Month, as well as this endeavor in civic engagement. And so tonight I would like to read a piece entitled Quasars. If you are not a space nerd like me, don't worry, I got you. Essentially, a quasar is a large celestial event that takes place way out in space. And when we're able to see it from our own planet through a telescope, the light we are actually able to see has happened millions of years ago. And essentially, the idea in this piece is how do we recognize the light around us before it's too late? This piece is written for my wife, who is a vascular surgery resident at Duke Hospital, and I'm really grateful for the ways in which she's able to shine in spaces where she is seldom recognized. I'm also grateful for this moment to sort of speak to the rhetorical onslaught that women, Black women, women of color, are facing today, how diversity in science, scientific fact for that matter, are often in contention. And again, this piece is a reminder that we should always recognize brilliance when it is up close. Quasars. When Dr. Mae Jemison boarded the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1992, she brought with her 3 items: a Bundu statue from an all-women's secret society located in regions of West Africa, a photo of world-renowned African-American dancer Judith Jamison performing Cry in 1971, and last but not least, a pink and green flag emblazoned with her beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority incorporated. So, for every woman who's been told their aspirations were astronomical, whose ideas were strong enough to peel back clouds, allow rays of light to shine in atmospheres of uncertainty, for every woman in science with esophagi lined with swallowed screams, I hear you. For every woman of color asked to barter intersectionality for wholeness, if only for a moment, like you were never the sum of your parts, as if there were an algebraic algorithm that worked out the incalculable difference between being victim of sexism, racism, or both in one body. For every woman who's had the YouTube how-tos on fitting a stethoscope earpiece beneath her hijab, treating patients who don't see you as fully human, whose hearts are too big to be consumed with hate. Thank you. The day Mae made her pilgrimage into space, I was 5 years old. I was 5 years old with tilted head and squinted eyes. I waved at Mae from my driveway, looked at the sky for the first time like it knew my name, like it grew me in her womb, interstellar umbilical kicking, big banging me into existence. My mother's fingerprints resemble galaxies, y'all. She told me, son, you are no star, but a world apart, a planet orbiting to whom you give your heart. Her name would be Lauren. Today, she adorns a white coat and scrubs. Every night she comes home, I look upon her the same way I saw space. She wraps me in her blackness, her arms feel like gravity, tethering me to the only things that make sense. When I ask her about her day, I brace myself, smiling and nodding, knowing I'm finna Google every word that fell from her lips. From organic chemistry to regenerating limbs, she's carved out a space, outer space where Mae said it's safe for Black girls to go, trans girls to go, Latinas to go. See, now girls can know their presence fills a cosmic void, thriving in a world where patriarchy reigns supreme. She's seen microaggressions erode self-love to self-loathing, but holding her tongue was never her strength. She fights back against every exclusionary practice. She'll be damned if she's the last of her kind to gaze at the stars is to look Lauren in her eyes, see the universe in her smile, and know. Her lips are shaped with the fullness of history. Her teeth glint with resistance. Her cheekbones rise like dawn as if to say, it is a new day. It is a new day. You will know that she is no token, but a compound of elements yet to be identified on a periodic table to which she has pulled up a seat with Solange bellowing ballads in the background. Baby girl, you belong, and you always have. They will remember your name, every letter and every degree you obtain, every title, doctor, professor, dripping in finesse. Yes, they will remember you, never lessening your glow. And we remember them. Mary Jackson, Katherine G. Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, not as anomalies, figures hidden, nor glitches in your matrix, but non-binary coded molders of worlds, fashioning light from dust, quasars, burning valiant with the power to devour our sun whole. They say the light from a quasar takes billions of years to reach Earth. No wonder it's taken so long to write this poem, for the world to see just how bright you truly are. Happy Black History Month.
Thank you so much, Dr. Donovan Livingstone. You have set the tone for the evening. I appreciate it. So we do have one proclamation. Before I get started, I do want to shout out our town of Carrboro employees with their Black History Month shirts on. It looks really nice. Appreciate it. Thank you. And I will also mention that the shirt is made by Cotton of the Carolinas. Dirt the shirt, 100% cotton grown and made in the Carolinas. So I appreciate the thought and the intentionality that went behind these shirts. I really don't know how I feel this evening, just full disclosure. I am going to read this proclamation, and I also have some comments for the community. I would like to start out with something that I laid my eyes on in my sorority's group chat. And it is simply, even in dark times, we not only dream, we do. We not only see what has been, we see what can be. We shoot for the moon, and then we plant our flag on it. We are bold, fearless, and ambitious. We are undaunted in our belief that we shall overcome, that we will rise up. This is American aspiration. That is not me. That is a former Vice President of these United States of America, Kamala Harris. We have joining us this evening to receive the proclamation Elizabeth Carter, who is a longtime community member, former elected official for Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools Board of Education, staunch advocate for justice and for what is right. And we also have Ms. Betty Curry, a sister in service, as well as the vice chair of the Race Equity Commission, to receive this proclamation. You guys don't have to come up now, but when I get finished, the proclamation's kind of long, but if you want to come up and stand with me, you're more than welcome. Proclamation, Black History Month. Whereas, since the beginning of Negro History Week in 1926, by noted historian Carter G. Woodson and the subsequent expansion to Black History Month in 1976, February has been a time when the nation reflects on the struggles and accomplishments of African Americans in the United States. And whereas North Carolina boasts many noteworthy names and places for Black History Month, the unknown indentured servants who were free men and could vote in colonial times, soldiers who fought on either side during the American Revolution, and men and women who offered resistance and fled to freedom during antebellum times, or joined in the fight for freedom with the Civil War. Through the civil rights era to modern times, North Carolina has mirrored or amplified the African American movements to freedom and equality in the United States. And whereas the Black History Month 2025 theme, African Americans and the Labor, focuses on the various and profound ways that work and working of all kinds, free and unfree, skilled and unskilled, vocational and voluntary, intersect with the collective experiences of Black people. And whereas Black people have played and continue to play significant roles in Carrboro's economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas Black leaders in Carrboro have included several elected officials, including Alderman Braxton Foushee, Carrboro's first Black elected official who served from 1969 to 1981, Robert Drakeford, who served as alderman from 1975 to 1977, and as mayor from 1977 to 1983. Alderman Hilliard Caldwell, who served from 1981 to 1997, Alderman Henry Hank Anderson III, who served from 1993 to 1998, Alderwoman Joel Hall Brown, who served from 1999 to 2011 and currently serves as a district court judge for Orange and Chatham counties, Alderwoman Michelle Johnson, who served from 2011 to 2017, and Councilmember Barbara Foushee, who served from 2027 to 2023, and is now Carrboro's first Black woman mayor. And whereas Black people have played leadership roles as employees of the town of Carrboro, including Richard Knight Jr., who was the first Black person to serve as town manager from 1976 to 1980, and later became the first Black city manager of Dallas, Texas. And Richard J. White III, who served as town manager from 2021 to 2023. And, drumroll please, Patrice Toney, who is currently serving as our town manager. And whereas the Carrboro Community Park was renamed the Henry Anderson III Park in honor of the late Alderman Hank Anderson. Baldwin Park was named for Henry W. Baldwin, a local Black community member and landowner, and Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which opened in 2020, featuring murals and plaques that honor Dr. King's life and legacy. And whereas the town is proud to recognize and celebrate Black people and Black history in Carrboro and across the nation during Black History Month. And whereas the town is committed to advancing racial equity and has recently taken multiple actions in support of this commitment, it is a dizzying number of initiatives from Carrboro Connects to joining the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, adopting the first Racial Equity Action Plan in November of 2023, the Carrboro Family Financial Assistance Program, unveiling of a historical marker honoring Manly Macaulay, who was a victim of 1898 lynching, engaging in a door-to-door strategy concerning the weatherization program and Rogers Road Sewer Extension Program to ensure lower income and Black homeowners, many of whom are elderly, are aware of program and application assistance. And every December 13th is designated as Braxton Duncan Foushee Day of Carrboro, Foushee Day of Service in Carrboro. And on this day, the town will encourage the residents of Carrboro to learn and reflect on Carrboro's Black history and perform an act of service for their neighbors or the community. And whereas celebrations of Black History Month, including town-hosted events such as a Black History Month concert series, a Black History Month speaker series, virtual youth art exhibit, African Americans and Labor Evening with a focus on the U.S. South, labor, environment, justice, and the Black freedom struggle, Poets Open Mic, Health and Wellness Fair, 28 days of Black History Trivia, an evening highlighting civil rights history, Ghetto in Real American History, by Jim Crow the Puppet, and much more. Go to carrboro.nc.gov for a full list. That's not in the proclamation. And whereas in May and June of this year, the town will again partner with the Music Maker Foundation to host the 10th anniversary of the Freight Train Blues Friday concert series in celebration of local music legend and Grammy Award recipient Elizabeth Cotten. Whereas numerous other celebrations of Black History Month will occur around the Triangle, a listing of which can be viewed at Triangle on the Cheap. You just Google that online, and whereas learning about Black history is beneficial for everyone and helps us to dissuade racism and is relevant year-round. Now, therefore, I, Barbara M. Foushee, Mayor of the town of Carrboro, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim February 2025 as Black History Month in Carrboro and encourage all residents to participate in local Black History Month events and to learn about and celebrate the lives, the history, and contributions of Black people during this month and throughout the year, this the 4th day of February 2025. I would now like to call to the microphone Miss Elizabeth Carter and Miss Betty Curry. And we'll hear a few words from both of these women, and then I will come back briefly, and then we will move on. Proclamation, thank you so much. Thank you.
Go ahead, I don't have to do
This is my kind of mentor, and we're kind of, I met Betty. She's not originally from Chapel Hill, Carrboro area. She's originally from New Jersey and many places, but she has the heart of gold. And she's willing to help anyone that's willing to accept her help. But you have to listen to what Betty is saying to you. And sometimes she comes off a little strong. And I'm 73 years old, and I know that I have to listen. To get what you want and what you need and the support that you need, we have to do it. Particularly from my Miss Betty, and I call her my Miss Betty. And I do it because Betty is such a good person and such a giving person. And I think sometime in our community, she's misunderstood, that she's hostile, she doesn't want to help, she's looking for help. And I think of anyone in this room that thinks that's what she's looking for, she's not looking for that. Betty is looking to give. Yes, sometimes she needs some help. We all do in this room. If there's anyone in this room today that's standing here has never needed help from anyone, could I please see your hand? I mean, not needed any type of help, even a glass of water. And we all need help, and we should be willing to receive it and not look down onto those people that ask for help or need help, because we need it. I need it. And that's why I was running a little bit late. I had some conversation with my daughter and my nephew, because we were kind of talking about those same things, and I often talk to my daughter that sometimes you have to let people help you. And I get that a lot from my Miss Betty, and I call her my Miss Betty is because she's my Miss Betty, because I have the utmost respect for her. And this is a community that I love. I love Carrboro. I was born and bred in Carrboro, on Broad Street in Carrboro. And it was the best community, the most loving people there, people that needed things. And my mom was one of those people that was given. She was always given. My mom prayed for 7 kids. My dad was one of those people when COVID came out that they talked about individuals with polio. My dad had polio. And I didn't realize that he had a disability, because it meant he had an ability. He had an ability to love everyone. My dad was the father of 7. My mom did housekeeping, and then one of the things that she said to us is that she wanted us to make sure that we didn't take care of and sorry and not to offend anyone in this room, is to take care of my kids. Let them take care of their own kids. Well, she wanted us to become educated. I was one of the few that did become educated. Not the one of the few. I have a sister that was an LPN at UNC Hospital. She died from in one of the units that she worked in, and in fact, she died from the type surgery, the heart surgery that they had to take care of. My mom also had heart problems. Had a brother that had heart problems. Thank God I didn't have that, but I am one of the few that had COVID, and I didn't even know for about 2-3 months. And that's my daughter back there, Kim Carter. I'm sorry I didn't introduce her.
Well,
But she was one of the ones I was talking, and that's what took me so long. She told me today that she's fortunate enough because they're cutting back on her jobs. One of those jobs that our
President.
president is talking about. And I say when I hear it, and people say, well, he's taking jobs, but you voted for him. He told us what he was going to do. He did not stutter anything. He told us what he was going to do. And I always tell people, even people that I don't know, make sure that you read what people are telling you. Make sure you know what people are telling you. He was truthful in what he said. He's still saying it.
Okay.
He's taking babies from their moms and their dads, their kids. And I worked at UNC hospitals, and when I retired, I don't know how many years it's been because COVID took some of my memory. I subbed at Carrboro Elementary School. There were babies coming to school that was afraid to leave home because they didn't know if their dads were going to be back. And those are things that we should take into consideration. How what we say make other people feel. His son gets to go home with his dad. And in fact, his dad gets to tell us what we can and can't do. So, those are the things we need to think about. There are a lot of people we're hurting with the things that we say. And my daughter will tell you, I'll say to you what you shouldn't be saying and mistreating people. I said in some of my meetings, and our mayor has been in those meetings.
Okay.
She heard me say some of the things.
And
that
she
we
knows how we are. So,
So I'll let Betty tell the rest of her story about me, but Miss Betty is my Miss Betty, and she has a very, very nice family. And I didn't know her mom, but the first time she said to me about her life with her mom, I said, that wasn't your mom. Your mom was doing what she needed to do to raise you in this world that we knew that we were going to have to face and fight.
and I will piggyback off of that. Thank y'all, everybody, for giving me this recognition, which, I'm honored to have. But that's not why I do this work. I do this work because I live it every day. Not only that, I wish for justice for all, something that has never happened for blacks in this country. So it's been frustrating, being a housing commissioner and being on Racial Equity Commission and many other commissions and committees, and it goes on and on. The most frustrating thing in this matter is the fact that we have too many meetings. We have meetings on top of meetings to no avail, and every time I turn around, there's no help for my people in this community. And I just, want what's best for our people. And when I say our people, Black Americans, Carrboro reparations, Black reparations, the Carrboro Connect plan. We made all these plans. I just would like to see people implement the plans and sincerely do what they say they want to do, because blacks in this town and in Orange County is suffering, especially when it comes to housing. Other people are being affected and being helped, but we aren't. So I just want to see justice for my people in particular, but overall, if you help us, then you will help yourself. It's just been a disaster for decades, 400 years of this, y'all. It's time to make change and do what's right. You know, when it comes to this community, y'all need to do what's right. And what's right, we all deserve a housing. We all deserve good jobs. We all deserve education. And we should not be depicted because of who we are. So as in this space, I hope that one day in the future that will happen. But right now we're in a crisis. And people are still fighting against us and still trying to keep us away from having justice. And it's disheartening. So all I ask, let's work, let's try to heal, let's sincerely heal, not put it on the paper and make it look like we're doing something, but actually do something. Thank you.
I hope you were referencing your wife, that's a vascular surgeon. That was a beautiful respect to her, and I could not walk away, because the thing about it is, and I have to say it because, as I said, when people used to say Obama when he became president, you know, I don't know what it's not like to have a good black father. My father did have polio, but my father made his crutches for himself. My father was a furniture doctor, if any of you are originally from Chapel Hill, and he did a lot of work, and they taught us how to love. They had 7 children, and we never had to beg for food. We never had to beg for food. We had 3 meals a day. My mom worked out of the house. My dad did basket weave and taught my son, my brothers to how to cane and do some work themselves. So my brother was self-employed as he grew up. He didn't like going to high school, so eventually he learned how to become self-employed and owned a business right here in Carrboro. My brother, he was a plumber. I had a nurse that was two sisters that were nurses, and they wanted us and pushed us. Maybe we didn't have PhDs or anything, but they taught us how to work and take care of ourselves, and they taught us how to love, and that's what I do. When I was going to school and subbing, that's what I told kids to do: is love each other, not call kids by something that wasn't their name, but to be true and show them love, because we all need to be loved in this world today. Thank you. And thank you, Barbara, for recognizing me, because when she sent me a message that she needed to talk to me, I knew she had something for me too. And I don't have to be recognized for anything I do in this community. I love Carrboro. I tolerate Chapel Hill, but I truly love Carrboro.
Well, okay. Thank you, Ms. Carter. I appreciate you so much. I love you more. So, you know, that's some real talk from some community members with some history here, and that are doing this great work in the community and really working for change. And while I'm at the microphone, there's just been a few questions, you know, and concerns about things that are happening at the federal level. And what I will say is that is an ever-changing landscape that we find ourselves in these days. It's a moving target, you know, pretty much every day. You can't really put your finger on it. But one thing that I can put my finger on, and that is that the town of Carrboro and its elected leaders will continue to provide the same day-to-day services and operations for our community. That is one thing that is happening. We also will share information with the community should there be some type of direct impact, you know, for us as a result of some of these changes at the federal level. We're hearing something different every day. Our town manager and staff are keeping track of what's happening, as are your elected officials that sit before you this evening. And so we're on it, you know, but we're not going to be panicked by it. We are not going to show any fear. We're going to continue to do what we have been doing before this change at the federal level. And so it really is important for us to just continue with some normalcy. If it never mattered before, you know, it matters now. I know that community members probably across the country are panicky, fearful, anxious, But I just want to encourage people to just stay steady, and just ride this out until, hopefully it stabilizes for everyone. Please stay in the light, be in community, love on each other. And as we heard earlier about love, more love leads to more understanding. And so I did just want to say that before I left the microphone. We have gotten some questions about official responses from the town of Carrboro. There it is. Thanks. We are down to Town Manager Tony's update. Town Manager Tony.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to echo Happy Black History Month. Everything's been stated. I will echo, visit our website for a list of Black History Month events. That's it.
We are down to public comments. I do have one person signed up to speak. You can come on up. So our council, we were in retreat on Saturday, and we did discuss some things as it relates to time at the microphone. We welcome public comment prior to every business meeting. But what we have decided in the interest of equity is that we are going to limit to 3 minutes per speaker. As the last 30 seconds count down, we ask that you please finish up your comments and prepare to take your seat. I will tap the gavel when time is up as another signal for the speaker to take their seat if they have not done so already. As I said, and I will repeat, this council wants to keep it equitable for everyone, and the way to do that is for everyone to have 3 minutes to speak at the microphone. If you're not able to complete your comments, or if you have a presentation that wasn't finished, you may email it to council@carrboro.nc.gov or to our town clerk, Mr. Lamar Joyner. And this is how we would be moving going forward in the interest of equity. And I will remind folks about this before every public comment. And so I welcome Megan Kimball. Her subject matter is Rails to Trails feasibility study. She wanted to speak for 3 minutes on this matter, so welcome, Megan.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Megan Kimball, and I'm a senior attorney at the Southern Environmental Law Center. For the past 2 years, I've been working with a broad group of stakeholders to develop a shared vision for the rail trail project that's on your agenda tonight. I'm here to provide some additional background and context, and I'm happy to answer any questions that may arise during your discussion later. The stakeholder group was convened by Senator Meyer, who's also virtually in the meeting, and it includes representatives from Carrboro. At the beginning, it included Mayor Siles, and now includes Mayor Fushi, as well as town staff. It also includes representatives from the town of Chapel Hill, Orange County, community organizations like the Jackson Center, many UNC students and faculty, and also the UNC administration, in addition to the Southern Environmental Law Center. And last year, Senator Meyer presented the project to this council, and since then, the local jurisdictions, the university, and SCLC have signed a memorandum of agreement to pursue this shared vision. Tonight, you're considering whether to contribute $10,000 as part of the local match towards a $500,000 grant that would fund a feasibility study. I know there's a long history between Carrboro and UNC. In particular, the coal plant and the coal train have been impacting the community since the 1940s, especially the black neighborhoods that immediately neighbor the power plant. And I see this project as a real opportunity for our community to take control of its future and flip the script, to begin to repair the legacy of this harm on our own terms. This project is about what comes next. UNC is transitioning away from coal, and once the power plant no longer relies on the rail line to bring in solid fuel to the power plant, we have a chance to transform it into something that benefits the whole community, a space designed for people rather than pollution. Instead of an industrial corridor carrying coal, this can become a vibrant community asset that supports economic development, affordable housing, and public gathering spaces. If you've been to Atlanta, you may have seen how the Beltline turned an abandoned rail trail into a thriving multi-use space that fosters local businesses, public art, and walkable communities. We see a similar opportunity here, a vision not dictated by UNC, but by the community. This is just the first step. The feasibility study will help evaluate options, engage community members, and build consensus on what's possible. And it's a great return on investment. The overall grant is $500,000, and a $10,000 contribution from Carrboro helps unlock significant funding for planning and engagement that'll help shape the future of this corridor. So tonight, I urge you to support this opportunity and invest in Carrboro's future. Thank you.
You were the guinea pig. Thank you. Thank you so much, Megan. I did want to acknowledge Mayor Pro Tem Danny Now, who is not here in his chair, but he is joining us virtually from the House. And also wanted to acknowledge North Carolina Senator Greg Meyer, who is joining us as well for an agenda item.
Two microphones?
I meant to do that earlier. I hear something.
Is it the two microphones?
The way they're crossed there. Yeah, because I hear a little buzz. He's joining us as well for an agenda item. I meant to do that earlier. I hear something.
Is it the two microphones?
For a minute. So we're down to our consent agenda. So our, consent agenda items are part of normal town business. I do know that we have one of the consent agenda items that I will go ahead and pull. And that is consent agenda item number 3. I will pull that, but before that, I would like a motion to approve items 1, 2, and 4, unless somebody wants to pull one of those as well that I'm not aware of.
I'll move 1, 2, and 4.
Thank you. All right, so it's been moved and properly seconded for 1, 2, and 4. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And could I also get a motion to move consent agenda item number 3 to the general agenda for discussion? This agenda packet went out on Friday, it was published, and so I would like for us to agree to move that item to the general agenda for discussion.
So moved.
Thank you so much. All right, so it's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. So I am going to go ahead and move into the, oh, wait. These people are stepping up. I'm not going to move anywhere. I'll have Town Manager Tony to move us into the general agenda. We're going to start with that consent agenda item, number 3. Town Manager Tony, if you want to just say what that is a little bit.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This item is to request town's participation in a feasibility study for repurposing the Cogen rail line. You just heard in public comment an overview of the project, and so open for discussion.
Thank you so much, Town Manager Tony. Let's see here. The department is planning and finance. There's not a presentation?
No.
Per se. But we do have Senator Greg Meyer, who is Zooming in with us. He's out of town on business. And we also have Megan Kimball here in the space. Council members, we've read through the scope of work and the material. This item was moved to discussion because there were multiple questions. about the scope of work and I guess potentially our continuing partnership with the Cogen Rail Line project. So I don't know if Senator Meyer or, well, Megan was just at the microphone. Senator Meyer, was there something that you wanted to share before council members ask their questions and we have a discussion? Thank you.
We can't hear.
Can't hear Senator Meyer. Is that Meyer or,
How's
well,
that?
Megan was just at
Can
the
you hear me?
microphone. Senator Meyer, was there something that you wanted to share
Okay.
before council members
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
ask their
Thank you,
questions and we have
Council.
a,
One other
discussion?
person that's present
Thank
with you in the room tonight is Doug Plachinsky from the Triangle West
Can't hear,
Transportation Planning
Senator Meyer.
Organization. And so Doug would also be available
Mayor
to answer
or-
questions. How's that?
well, Megan was
Since
just
they'll
at
be
the
the
mic.
lead funding
Senator
partner
Meyer, was there
and
something that you wanted to share
organizational leader
before
of this
council members?
study
Thank you,
Madam Mayor. Once
Thank you,
fully
Council.
funded.
Can you hold on for, hold on, Senator Meyer, I'm sorry, can he even hear us? Can't hear Senator Meyer.
And so
I can-
Doug
hey,
would
Senator
also be
Meyer,
available to answer
can you pause for 1
questions.
second, please?
Since they'll be the lead funding
Senator
partner
Meyer, was there
and
something that you wanted to share?
organizational leader of this
Council
study.
members?
Once fully
Somebody has
funded.
their mic open.
Can you hold on for, hold on, Senator
So
Meyer, I'm
everybody who
sorry,
is
can
on
he even
Zoom
hear
in the
us?
room
Can't
needs
hear
to mute their mic.
And so
Hey, Senator Meyer,
And
can
Let's
you
get a
pause for
brief
1 second, please?
recess until this is taken care of. Was there something that you wanted to share?
organizational leader of this study. Once fully
somebody has
funded.
their mic open.
Senator Meyer, Mayor Pro Tem now, you can hear me, correct? You can hear me? Nobody's responding, so I feel like
Okay.
I can't
Are you
hear.
hearing?
It looks like the Carrboro Council, like we can hear here in the room, but on the Zoom, the presentation to council machine is still unmuted and the council
Right.
is now
Senator
muted.
Meyer, Mayor Pro Tem now, you can hear me, correct?
Okay, now it's into a loop
can hear
right
me?
now. So we are in a loop
Nobody's
currently.
responding. So I feel like
So
we can't.
are you hearing
From
Mayor Pro Tem, now you can hear everything. I don't know what's going on over there. But go ahead, Senator Meyer,
I don't think they can hear us.
he can't hear.
So you should be able to hear me
hear her.
on Zoom. And Senator Meyer, go ahead and speak.
Okay. How is this? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Now you can hear everything.
Getting thumbs up from the
I don't
dots.
know what's going on over there. But go ahead, Senator Meyer.
I don't think they can hear us.
Continue, they can hear. So you should be able to hear me
Okay.
her.
on Zoom.
Um,
And Senator Meyer,
Thank
Go
you for
ahead and
having me
speak.
back. And I wanted to point out that also present in the room with you is Doug
Now you can hear
Plachinsky, the
everything.
CEO of the Triangle West Transportation Planning Organization. Community's concerns are that is not a permanent energy transition. We want a permanent energy transition. And the pellets would not open up the rail line because they still would most likely have to transport the pellets to the cogeneration facility by the rail line. And part of what the university understands and you understand, and we want the entire community to understand, is that that is not a permanent energy transition. We want a permanent the benefits of moving away from, and the pellets would not open up the rail line. We have so much to gain. Would most likely have to transport the pellets to the cogeneration facility by the rail line. Exactly what there is to gain. Part of what the university understands and you understand, and we want the entire community to understand, is that that is not a permanent energy transition. With permanent the benefits of moving away from, and the pellets would not open up a rail line.
We're the federally designated metropolitan planning organization for the Western Triangle, including the city of Durham, the towns of Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and Hillsborough, and all of Durham, a large portion of Orange, and northeast Chatham counties. We are here in support of the federally designated metropolitan planning organization for the Western Triangle, including the city of Durham, the towns of Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and Hillsborough, and Very fond memories growing up at the Crestwood Trailer Park on Bethel Hickory Grove Church Road and visiting the Carrboro Park before the reservoir was even filled up. So that's how long I go back in Carrboro. But again, I'm here to help navigate your questions and hopefully give you some answers that assure you and very fond memories growing up at buildings for Crestwood Trailer Park.
Yeah, we'll be ready for questions as soon as they get back. We have 3 people here.
At home. Do you really? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Do you do like a pour over? Yeah. I'll do a French press every now and then. That one that feels fancy, but everything else is great.
I want everybody to be able to get their questions in, any concerns they have. So we are in a recess, so get up and move or do whatever you want to do.
Thanks for flagging.
Wait, are curries really bad for you?
No, but every cup of coffee makes a piece of plastic. And there are literally like islands of these Keurig cups just floating around in the ocean. Like it.
That is true.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, testing. Mr. Meyer, if you can hear me, please wave your hand. Thumbs up.
All right.
Perfect.
You can hear.
Okay. That's good to hear. All right. All right, perfect. Mr. Meyer,
1, 2,
2, 3.
Whoop.
Testing,
And
testing, 1, 2, 3. You said as soon as you hit unmute for Zoom, you hear the loop? Okay. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good to know. Which means we have 2 instances on. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right.
Who knows?
Why don't you put a code on? Push over there. You want me to go grab it?
It just turned on the air conditioner. We're fine.
Okay. Yeah, hold on, I didn't grab the Social Security office. Next week.
And this is Monique in Zoom.
Ooh, the voice of God. That's what they called it, right?
Yeah, I know.
Like the announcers? The Social Security office.
And this is Monique in Zoom.
Yeah, I have. Ooh, the voice of God. Right?
Yeah, I know.
Like the announcers? The Social Security office. Interesting. Can't catch me on here. So having it is the issue. Can we not record it and then put it live later? Oh, that's true.
Lamar, what would happen if they relinked to clear,
If they what?
relinked, if they needed to relink?
I think that's what they did. I think they reset. They took everything down and tried to reset everything and pulled up the Zoom again. I think it really sounds like it's an issue with the Zoom, and I don't.
It is.
Yeah, and I,
Zoom platform itself.
yeah, I
like
think
what?
it's yes. So. But I'm not an IT expert, but it just seems that way there.
Madam Mayor, I think if IT concludes that there's nothing else to be done, we may just have to cut Zoom.
Yeah, yeah, because that's, yeah, so we would cut out Senator Meyer and,
Have
And
him,
Danny.
have him send written
Well, he did send an email.
be in the minutes.
yeah.
And we were able to hear most of his presentation.
And the same thing, Doug,
If I'm not wrong, he made some news.
We made the news? Oh.
and the same thing, Doug.
If I'm not wrong, he made some news. Yeah. Now it's my turn.
We made the news?
Number 9. Number 9.
This is Monique. And that's because I'm in this room.
Not wrong. You made some news.
Oh, no. Mr. IT down there, I know he about to have a fit.
I am equal parts super frustrated and
This is
relieved
current.
that this is not my baby to fix.
And that's because I'm in this room. I'm not hearing a loop back on them. I believe the folks on Zoom can hear me. Sorry.
That this is not my
Yes,
baby
we're
to
getting
fix.
nods. And that's because I'm in this room. I'm not hearing a loop back.
Number 9.
I believe the folks
It's starting to
on
sound like a
Zoom
haunted house.
can hear me.
Relieved
Sorry.
that this is not my
Yes,
baby
we're
to
getting
fix.
nods.
I don't like it.
And that's because I'm in this room. I'm not hearing a loop back.
Number 9.
I believe the folks
It's starting to
on
sound like a
Zoom
haunted house.
can hear me.
Relieved
Sorry.
that this is not my
Yes,
baby
we're
to
getting
fix.
nods.
I don't like it.
And that's because I'm in this room. I'm not hearing a loop back.
Number 9.
But obviously, you know.
The best council meeting ever.
He would be dropped off.
Y'all ever go to the nightlight when it was open?
I would say.
The nightlight. This would have been like a show they would have had there.
Because I don't
Chaos
think-
at the
I don't even
dais.
think- I don't wanna try
Oh, that's what.
conference him in.
I got his cell phone.
So I can.
Call him up. I can call him and send him out.
Put a phone on the dial. No, I want to tell them that we're gonna count Zoom. If that's where we are. What the request is, I just don't wanna do it before.
It's just unfortunate.
I don't know. And frankly, I want to get better at reading.
And then it would need to.
Just put it to.
Maybe she can take her phone to the speaker and hold the phone.
Okay. But we gonna have to get now too.
Why can't she just call and just take it to the?
Somebody's gonna have to call. I can call conference in him as well as now, if that's okay. And I can do it on my phone. Lord of mercy. That's okay. Are we good with that?
I don't have a problem with it.
Why do that? And she can call.
Okay,
maybe
but
have
did,
it at that mic
but
and
somebody
you
has to
call
call.
now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we good?
And then have it on that phone.
Okay.
So who
whatever.
needs the number, I guess
I
is the
need.
question.
I need Niles'
Keep
number.
it, let her have her phone. and she
Danny.
call.
Danny.
You want me to call him?
Yeah, but you, and take it home to the mic.
And I'll put it
Right.
on speakerphone?
Yeah.
And then if you would share Danny's number with, and then we can go ahead with the meeting.
All right.
And they'll have time to figure all that out before next week.
Good deal.
I'm gonna put you
I
on
don't know.
speakerphone.
Right.
I can call them myself.
Okay. And we can have them both, you know, be able to hear so we can go ahead with the meeting.
I don't, Greg, if you want to say something, or Senator Meyer.
How is this? Can y'all hear me?
I'm finna.
Yes.
Can you put just lay the phone down and maybe bend the microphone so you won't have to, in
Hold
some
it.
way?
Okay. All right.
What do we have? We have me.
Now we're.
Is that too close?
Because of Senator Meyer's,
Now we're getting old school
Mayor
feedback
Pro
loop.
Tem now. If you can. No.
The Zoom.
Is the Zoom?
Are you still on
The
Zoom?
Zoom is
How are
gone.
you hearing the mayor?
Zoom will create a feedback into the microphones.
Yeah, now we're just getting a very old school feedback loop.
Can we cancel Zoom? That's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
Which was on mute.
Okay, I think we're good now.
Good?
Do you want them to disconnect?
Yeah, do you want me to leave the Zoom? Is that what you want me to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, let's do a test.
I hadn't thought about that. She said the Zoom was powerful.
Do you want to do a test for both of them?
Okay.
Okay. Everybody can hear? Pretty much. We have Senator Meyer on the phone as well as Mayor, yeah, Mayor Pro Tem now. Getting tongue-tied now. So we are at a point where council members will be able to ask questions of, we have three people. We have Senator Meyer, we have Megan, and we have Doug. And so whoever wants to go first with their questions or comments, I will recognize you now.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'm more than happy to.
All right.
Do you need me to speak into the microphone?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
It seems like it's okay.
All right, I don't know whether to tag on to what Senator, let me start with Senator Meyer. Greg, I hope you can hear me. You had just mentioned, even though you looped a couple of times, about the pop-up is not part of the one of the components. I also want to just clarify, what about the electric and the light rail? Or was it just the pop-up?
Thank you, Councilmember Haven O'Donnell. After you and I spoke yesterday, I talked to several members of the stakeholder group, and everyone that I talked to was in agreement that although that had been discussed at one point, that none of us thought that it made any sense to proceed with it, and so we just need to make that clear in the scoping study. And that would include any type of continued rail use. The pop-up rail use was a small electric train, which is basically one version of light rail.
Yeah, it's battery powered. Excellent, thank you. All right, so one of the questions I have is, what kind of access can the town town council have to any notes or other meeting information from the work group meetings? I understand that you had a slow launch between the March 19th approval from town council and when you finally all pulled it together, but is there access to any of the notes of the conversation and the discussions that were taking place?
There are no formal notes. The stakeholder group is not a formal public body, and we have, I think multiple people have kept notes. Megan mentioned looking at her notes today. So, I think what you have is you have access today to several members of the working group, the mayor, your town staff that have been there, myself, Megan Kimball, Doug Plachinsky. Doug's not at all the meetings, but that you have access to all of us.
Okay, and I think essentially that one of the questions I had about the project scoping study to determine the highest and best use of the existing rail line, then the council, I think one of the things we really want to understand is what does highest and best use mean if the rail reuse is not part of the scope. In other words, we read the document and the rail was part of it, but if it's not and it was dismissed, then what does highest and best use look like, given that the document, much of the scope is based on a broader build-out?
Doug may want to answer to this, but I would just say that the study isn't only about the rail line itself. It's about all of it's really a land use study of all the adjacent properties and what is possible once the rail line is transformed from primary rail use to a multimodal greenway type connector use.
Okay, and so on the project scope summary on page 4, at least page 4 of the document I read, it states that, quote, "The consultant may recommend expansions to the project area based on an analysis with particular focus on and beyond the immediate adjacent parcels," period, end quote. So that implies continuing and escalating costs of the study. That sounds like an open-ended checkbook. Carrboro residents deserve to know the complete and total cost of the study before the town begins the investment of the project. How would you respond?
Doug, do you want to respond to that? I'm happy to, Doug. I'm not trying to pass the buck to you, but
No, I don't mind. That's great. So we have a tentative budget that we're pulling together the program funding for. You're absolutely right. The public should have transparency before any
Yeah, you can go to the microphone.
before any contract or agreement is in place. So the way this process works is we release a request for interest with this example of work. We get proposals in from ideally consultant teams from multiple vendors that'll partner together, and they'll come and say, this is how we'd like to approach the scope of work. Before we agree to a contract and a dollar amount, we negotiate a scope, including items like this that may be open-ended in the scope. So we make it clear that this is the area we're looking at. If there are things that come up during the work, then we either see how they fit into the provided budget, or we initiate a change order process where we come back and have the partners weigh in and evaluate the merits of that request. Things do happen during studies, engineering, design, construction, that we don't know what we don't know yet. We're putting the work up front to try to minimize that risk long term. And not only the funding partners, which include the North Carolina Railroad and the university, the county and the town of Chapel Hill and the town of Carrboro, but we as the MPO have a process to assure that we're being good stewards of federal funds. You can imagine that there would be a lot of scrutiny if it were thought that we were just adding more money without a purpose or desire or tangible outcomes that were meaningful.
So, in essence, this is more than a Greenway Rails to Trails project. This is a highest and best use rail corridor project.
Well, in essence, this is evaluating how the transformation of the corridor will impact the community and vice versa. There potentially would be things that each community would be able to consider to produce better uses than what are adjacent to the corridor right now. And we heard what some of those could be. They could include open space. They could include additional infrastructure for future community resiliency. They could rectify existing problems that the rail create. Like I said, we don't know everything that's out there on the ground, but we don't know. Even at a minimum, if we were just yanking the trail or the rails out and the railroad ties, we're going to have to review exactly what kind of materials are out there. Very often, railroad ties include arsenic as a treatment for preservative. So we'll be evaluating some of that to make sure there aren't negative environmental consequences of even converting the rail trail from what you see today to a active recreation use with the supporting adjacent land uses in the communities.
Yeah, I think my concern is, first of all, I love rails to trails. I've worked with folks in 1998 on Rails to Trails, Sig Hutchinson, back in 1998. So I love Rails to Trails. It's a great reuse of rail line. My larger concern, and I really like the idea of having a corridor that is developed, but for us in Carrboro, one of the things that I want to be careful of is what the unintended financial consequences are of a change order process or an expanded order process that, puts us in a position of ongoing costs. We've had some experience with that, and I think that's the piece that I would want to watch out for and be concerned about, and for council to take seriously in terms of how we assess as we go, and maybe there's a way that we can structure our commitment to reflect that careful stewardship.
So thank you for that. Did you get on everything?
I think so.
Okay, so I want to do a follow-up to Councilmember Haven O'Donnell. So we have 6 partners involved, and so if we say, the Carrboro Town Council, that we would like to, I guess, amend, or add something before we would agree to put in $10,000, is that a situation where we would have to take this to the other partners or not? Or would it just be something that we would be asking for and it would just be included without buy-in from the others? I'm thinking like a ILA, right? But I don't know if that's the kind of structure that we're talking about here. Will we need agreement from the other 5 groups or not?
I mean, I would ask that council rely on its professional expertise from its manager and council to, you've heard the concerns. If you would like to grant, or
Microphone.
if you would consider the action with making sure that it provided a firewall against the town for incurred costs above that without some sort of verification process, I'm sure we can come up with some sort of stipulations to your motion and then agreeing to us. But all that said, the Central Pines Regional Council, on behalf of the Triangle West organization, is the fiduciary responsibility for this work. It's not like, we're the LLC, for lack of a better example, to shield the town of undesired liability.
Good information to know. Thank you. Councilmember Palmer has his hand up.
Yeah, I just, and thank you for everyone else's patience as I get my head around how these sorts of processes work. But I'm hoping that y'all can speak to trust, and where I'm coming from in this is that a thing I love about Carrboro is how loud and proud we are about how much we value our diversity, how much we are very forward about what our climate commitments are, very public about those commitments, and we're very aware that others don't share those same commitments, and that there are members of the community who have lost some amount of trust in other entities and might be wondering why we're partnering here. And so if you could speak to what are those entities' incentives in this, and how we can be confident in the future going forward in this partnership. And I'll take the response from whoever wants to speak to that.
Councilmember Palmer, to be explicit, as I assume by what you're saying of knowing the partners that are in this that you're asking about the university?
I'm seeing some nods in the room, so I'll say that I've attended plenty of things, and I've heard plenty of community members who doubt the sincerity, and very specifically that comes from having previously made commitments that they walked back and then changed. And there are plenty of individuals that I love at that university who I believe are doing their best in all sorts of different roles, including probably, I do not personally know anyone involved at the cogen plant, but I'm sure that they have good motives, and I want someone who is not us to speak to what those motives are and how they are aligned with ours.
And what's your concern that the university will commit to putting their $20,000 in and then they'll back out of that commitment?
No, my concern is that we will go through a study and then at some future point, say 10 years down the line, when the facts have changed and twice it has been punted and continues to be 10 years down the line, that they stop burning solid fuel at that plant, that the feasibility study no longer is relevant because the facts on the ground have changed. And that is the scenario that I want to avoid. And I've had people convey to me why the university can't make any specific commitments, and I understand that. And I've had other people convey to me that it is in their interests, but I want someone to speak to what that interest is.
Well, I mean, I think we've been pretty clear in this whole process that no one can commit to the university to anything except for the university. We have seen that they already committed one pot of funding that paid for Central Pines Regional Council's work to get us this far. And they haven't made the final commitment to this 20,000, but they've given all indication that they will once they work it through their process, just like you're working it through yours. The future concern you have about what will they do on the energy transition is one that I think does concern all of us in the community. And as Megan pointed out in her comments in the public comment period, I think the community is quite burned by the university's previous commitment to an energy transition that hasn't happened on the timeline that was made earlier. I think the promise that is here is that when the university looks at the energy transition as a problem in and of itself, it's a very expensive problem for them to solve. But when they look at the energy transition combined with the opportunities that are opened by the rail line transition, it's a different math problem. It's a different economic opportunity, because to the university, the rail line transition and what it opens up as a non-automotive transportation corridor that connects to some very strategic pieces of land that they need for future use, Carolina North and the airport being the two main ones, then this study will show the potential economic benefits, housing benefits, transportation benefits that can make it so that the economics of the energy transition look much more feasible to them than when they look at it on their own. And in this case, I am not speaking for the university, but I am saying to you that in every conversation we've had with the university, both in our working groups and in conversations I've had with university leadership directly, they get that these two things work better together than they would work separately. And they are, part of the reason why they're putting their money on the table is they want to know, just like the rest of us, like, okay, if we're going to move ahead with the energy transition, then what else is possible?
Thank you for that. I know that this has been answered before, but I want to make sure that it gets answered in this context. Just to be super clear, I think even someone said it, but it may have been during one of the loops oopses that we had with Zoom. But what we're talking about is something that happens regardless of what the solid fuel is that they may switch to in the short term. This is something that only happens after they stop burning solid fuels, correct?
That's correct, because unless they could figure out a solid fuel that they need less of than they need coal, and therefore they could reduce it to transporting it by truck. But the problem with that is that there is no solid fuel that is more efficient than coal. So any solid fuel you switch to, you likely need a larger volume of it rather than a smaller volume.
All right. Thank you so much for answering these questions tonight.
If I could tag on that, Senator, I just wanted to point out the benefit to creating the space for this conversation, helps us all build trust around commonalities, even if there's a mixture of motives, right? We're really exploring unprecedented relationships across everywhere right now. But there may be opportunities to implement some improvements even before decommissioning freight rail if there are opportunities in the corridor that make sense or adjacent to the corridor to go ahead and start filling in gaps, and this work can help us identify that. So that way maybe we're not waiting until the very end, until everything's done on that point, but there could be some opportunities. We don't know that yet.
And I'd also like to add, if I may, one of your questions, Councilmember Palmer, was about kind of timing and why now. And it's, as Doug was saying, it's really important to do this study now so that we're ready later. These projects unfortunately take a long time. So it'll take time to do the study and then implement it. But if we get the study done now, we've got the first step done, and then later when there are opportunities, especially funding opportunities, we're ready to go. We can submit the applications. But if we don't have this work done, we'll be a step behind. And we've seen, there's a great trail project in Western North Carolina. Is it the Augusta Trail? You know, that was a many years long planning process, similar to the one that we're engaging in, where because they were ready with their study when the Biden administration had all these great grant programs, they were ready to hit the ground running and take advantage of that. So let's take the advantage of our opportunities now to study what we can, and then we'll be ready to go later.
Councilmember Frey.
Thank you. Having reviewed, at Councilmember Palmer's prompting, gone back and reviewed the material from the last time we had this ahead of us, I'm reminded of the reason why I support it then and support it now, which is this is a very small deposit on the idea that we continue to create an image of what that corridor can be in the future. It's not a promise, it's not a down payment even, it's not a commitment to continue that. It's just saying that we want to continue down that road for the time being. If we, as a council, decided that that was not a vision that we wanted to see, we can get off the train and let the other partners continue on down it without our input, but that's not where I want to be. I would like us to be contributing to that. Not least because at the time we were talking about this in the past, we were also starting to sneak up on the Green Tract Agreement, which was just in, part of which was just in our consent agenda today, and that corridor runs right along one side of the Green Tract. And so thinking about the potential for that in the future is one of the things that motivated me. Just wanted to share that history.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Frey. Any other comments from council members? I know Councilmember Haven O'Donnell wants to pull together some type of amendment potentially. Hold on for 1 second. Any comments? Any other comments? Okay, Councilmember Haven O'Donnell.
Does Danny?
Oh, wait, Danny, he's on the phone. Mayor Pro Tem now, do you have anything? I don't see you, so I'm sorry.
I am strongly in favor of moving forward with this. To the extent that I had some reservations, I think the updates about the independent feasibility study regarding the source of fuel for the cogeneration plant remove that. I think the overall picture here is, I think, honestly, pretty standard. We are at a pretty regular feasibility study, like the financial possibility for financial shifts, I think is totally de rigueur and in keeping with where we would be on any kind of decision like this at this stage. And I know that we regularly have to monitor those kinds of changes through all manner of projects through the MPO. All to say, I think the conversations about the trust of the various parties involved are legitimate and valid, but more or less not relevant here. And I think in particular, the thinking about the volume of the fuel supply and its impact on the rail line, that just separates those issues even further in my mind. All to say, I think we should go ahead and get with our partners on this, move this forward. There's a really exciting future where UNC is burning cleaner fuel for a more efficient plant, and we have a connective, more sustainable, more economically resilient corridor in the middle of Orange County, and we are moving toward that world, and that's exciting. So I would like to see this move forward.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, now for your comments. I don't see anyone else, so we'll go to Councilmember Haven O'Donnell for language about that amendment she was
So,
thinking.
yeah, given the information that we have from Senator Meyer, from Doug, and from Megan, I think with the clarity regarding the varied rail that has been dismissed, I'm certainly comfortable going forward. I really appreciate Councilmember Palmer for bringing forth the question about the pellets and the fuel, because we attended the meeting in Chapel Hill and we know how community feels about that. But this looks and feels, it's a greenway project, and it's a rails to trails reuse project. I would like to see if we could just add a clarification about a firewall for costs, so that committing today does not put us in a position where we keep adding money without as I said, opening up the checkbook. I think, if we have an annual assessment or however else that we can structure that, but as long as we have language that safeguards and $10,000, whether it's $10,000 or a penny, it's not that it's a small amount compared to the larger percentage. It's what it can mushroom to be as costs go up, as infrastructure issues impact progress. So I would look to council to help craft language that we're comfortable with to protect our stewardship of our financial input.
And so for clarification, are you talking about the money that we may potentially spend on the
Exactly.
feasibility study?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking
Right.
about?
It's not the initial 10,000.
It's even beyond.
It's right.
Beyond that. And
Right.
so you want a firewall.
Yeah, some language that safeguards our commitment financially, so that it is, so that although it's proportional now, what it looks like going forward, so that when let's say the consultant recommends an expansion, and that language is, I think, on page 4, that we can assess as we go.
Okay.
Could I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
The nature of this request is for a single, discrete, one-time $10,000 investment that would leave us in the position to deny any future funding request for this. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the firewall.
So, so I don't understand the need for a firewall at all.
Well, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Yeah,
You
on,
have the
on page 3, it said consultant may recommend expansions to the project area based on its analysis with particular focus on and beyond the immediate adjacent parcels. So that implies escalating costs.
I wonder if I can help here. I understand that it does imply that, but all you're authorizing is 10,000, not 15, and not even considering offering more, right? So I think I think that you should be comfortable that a motion that authorizes the expenditure of $10,000 towards this feasibility study, that language by itself limits what you're doing.
Exactly, and it does say not to, in an amount not to exceed $10,000.
That's even better.
Right,
It's a fixed sum, though, of course, that you're.
right,
Yeah,
now.
but I like that. Not to exceed.
Not to exceed
Is even sterner.
Yeah.
I want you comfortable about that,
Right, me too.
Randy. I mean, because I understand your point, but I want to provide some kind of assurance to you that from my perspective.
Yeah, I could absolutely live with not to exceed.
Right.
That's right, do you see it?
Yeah, no,
right
I did,
there.
actually.
It's already in
Yeah,
there.
it's on
Okay.
the attachment A at the bottom.
Yeah.
What we're gonna vote on at some
Give
point.
me
So
the
I'm gonna
page.
go to 11.
11.
We're gonna go to Councilmember Posada, then Councilmember Frey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the presenters and for, being with us as we're navigating all these things. One question I had was pertaining to this piece that the attorney already went through. So with that, Madam Mayor, whenever appropriate, I would like to make a motion, given that my questions have already been answered. Yield back.
So we have a motion on the floor?
Whenever you're ready, I would like to make one.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Councilmember Frey?
Seconded. That was my reason for speaking.
Okay. So it has been moved and properly seconded that we go forward with attachment A. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We're there. And I do want to
Thank you,
appreciate
everyone.
Megan, Doug, Senator Meyer for coming. This is an important project, and you showing up to answer questions from our council really made the difference. And thank you as well, Senator Meyer, for hanging out with us, first on Zoom and now on the phone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We're
All right.
excited about this.
All right, thanks so much. Okay, so Danny's still on the line. And Town Manager Tony, our last item, we'll let them go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The only item remaining on the general agenda is the Town Council Liaison Board and Committee assignments. This will be presented by our Town Clerk, Mr. Lamar Joyner.
Good evening.
Can you go to the podium?
If you would like, I can do that.
No, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, Mr. Joyner.
Okay. Hey, this meeting has been lopsided all day,
You're
so I'm not
fine where
sure.
you are.
But anyway,
Thank
if I can, I would like for the council to, and I'm council member now. I don't know if you have that available to you. It is part of the packet, but there is a town council liaison sheet in front of you, and hopefully you got a chance to review it, but I thought we could have a conversation on any changes or any updates that need to take place with this. And if it is the will of the council, we can vote on this tonight, or I can bring it back and have it on consent with all the changes. But it will be the will of the council on how you want to proceed.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Joyner. So we do have a new council member, Councilmember Palmer. He has agreed verbally to join Race Equity Commission Truth Plaque Task Force. So we do have him there, and I don't know if he would want something else. So a question that I have for you, are our consolidations complete?
They are complete.
That's
And-
what I thought.
And I have a question for you. When you say that Councilmember Palmer would join that commission, is that removing some already
Right,
council?
so what's happened is Councilmember Haven O'Donnell is involved with Central Pines. I believe she holds an office with that group. It's in direct conflict with the meeting time. She and I have talked about that, and so she knows that Councilmember Palmer will replace her as the liaison for that group. So it'll be Fushi and Palmer.
Okay.
And she'll keep up with it, I'm sure. She has a high interest in the race equity work.
I have a question. The,
Yes.
The climate and environment is not listed. It says Environmental Advisory Board, but not the climate.
And also Human Services Commission or Advisory Board.
Those have been
Oh,
combined.
those are combined. Human Services is with affordable housing.
Correct.
Yeah. That's right. You're correct.
And that is the same with the climate action.
It's just not on there.
Yes, it's combined under, so the new name is the names that are listed there.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm on the Climate Commission, so when, See-
So what happened if the board was, and so this is the discussion we need to have. So what happened was the boards that were combined, they were combined into a already established commission, and they had one person listed as the liaison for that particular commission. If we need to add a additional council member to that, we can. And so that is part of the discussion. So if you would like to do that, we can do that as well.
well, and I thought officially the name was Climate and Environment, CE, whatever, CEC, Climate Environment Commission.
It is the Environmental Advisory Board, is the Climate Action Team went up under that. I can
Yeah,
send.
please check because.
I will check and I'll send you
The climate
clarification.
is our pillar. It would seem that environment was embedded.
I will check on that, but
Yeah, Mr. Joyner, I think, she is correct because when the boards that consolidated, it changed the name for some of these, like,
It's the Climate Advisory.
Transportation and Greenways, I thought. Parks and Rec, aren't they with Arts?
it's Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Resources.
Cultural, that one's correct. My bad. I'm sorry about
Yes.
that. Planning Board and the INTAC.
It's just planning board.
Yes.
INTAC is under it. And so
Yes,
what's
but it's not a
missing
separate-
is the
INTAC
consolidated.
doesn't
I think
exist
that's what
separately
people are
anymore.
looking for, is the, it is the planning board, but couched under the planning board is the INTAC. And I think that's what people are looking for, is the couching one. You put the main one there, of course, but I think that's where the rub is there.
Okay. I can add those. These were the new names, but like I said, I can check.
And the main names is what you're saying,
Correct. I think
post-consolidation.
some of these boards that you're speaking with went up under these, and it took on the bigger name, and there wasn't an addition. But for the Environmental Advisory Board, I will definitely check on that. But and I will get that information to you if it has changed.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that being said, also, do we want to, when there was a board that went up under another board that took over a larger board, took over the smaller board, do we want to add those liaisons, council member liaisons to that board, or do we want to have one liaison to that board?
So some of these boards have one, and some have had more than one.
Correct.
I don't think there's any particular need, since we're sitting here to hash this out, I don't know that we need to automatically have multiple liaisons. We can just sort of sort it out here. As an example, when NTAAC merged into the planning board, I was the liaison for both of them. I'm the liaison for the, so that works fine. One of the things that I wanted to note, Madam Mayor, is that there are, so there are 7 of us. There are 9 of these boards. So as an example, if there's anybody who's sitting with 3 at the moment, we probably want to not only do we want to load Councilmember Palmer down with his fair share, but we may also want to reassort some because of the change in the number of boards.
And Mayor Pro Tem now on the phone. Is there anything that you want to add? Is he there?
There is not. I suppose as one of those 3, I hadn't really thought of it since one of those I hadn't thought of it since they're familiar to me and relatively light at this point for me. So I'm nothing on my end.
So you're happy with your assignments as they are?
Well, I'm lost in my agenda tab here. Give me just a sec. I'll be right back with you.
Okay, so I'm going to Councilmember Haven O'Donnell because she had something.
Yeah, I want to stay with what is listed here, but also include the Climate and Environment Commission, because I've worked with the Climate Action Task Force and the Climate Action Team in its development.
So the EAB with Climate Action.
Right.
Couch with it.
Right.
So right now that is Councilmember.
And actually, Eleazar and I both were on that to begin with.
So, Madam Mayor, yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a quick question on this, right? So I know that some of these have 2 liaisons, others have 1. We've had that before. I understood that as part of when it was the board itself was created, it was needed at that point to have 1 or 2, depending on the tasks of that. It's and now I see, of course, some of these, merge and there's only 1. Is there a do we need to go back and discuss how many council members have to be here per committee, right? Because I'm hearing from Councilmember Haven O'Donnell the desire to join the environmental or I don't know, climate, whatever the title is officially. So, and initially I think the task force had both of us in that one. But I was not a part of the EAB at that point, and it was only one other person, I think. I guess my question is, do we have clarity on how many people are needed per commission, so then that we can make a decision, right? Because if we're saying per the construction of the commission, there's 1 liaison that is needed by the council for the council, us adding another person, does that then change the requirements of the full board moving forward, right? So maybe this council, we have 2, we add another person, but then does that now link all the further councils moving forward to have 2 members of that board or that liaisons to that board?
I don't think so. I think we can decide whether there needs to be 2 if that is the will of the council, or it can be 1. I don't think it's going to make future councils have to depend on what was done prior to that as far as the liaison is concerned, because it is not an actual member of these boards.
Okay, and then my other part is, just to my colleagues, I have not been able to attend the Affordable Housing Advisory Commission as much as I want due to the in-person nature of the meeting and my job. So I was wondering if folks would be willing who are an advisor to a fully remote board, willing to kind of exchange some of these, because I care a lot about affordable housing, and the fact that I'm not able to get down here when the meeting is happening is making me ineffective in being able to represent that committee well. So I was wondering if anyone who is willing to, I guess, trade so that that board has adequate representation from the council.
Somebody got to take it.
I have nothing to trade. He said trade, so that's
Well,
why I was
are
keeping
you
quiet.
interested?
You're the only one who You don't have to trade.
Yeah.
Are you
need to take on at
interested
least
in
one of
that?
these.
If y'all are looking for work to give me that, I mean, that is definitely
And
something
that would be
I,
2 for you
two,
if you were
yes.
interested in taking it. What, is that the third Wednesday night?
Yeah,
Third Wednesday night at 7?
6:30 or 7.
Oh, is it 6:30 now? So that,
And it
so
meets
for
here?
your scheduling
Yeah, it's
purposes.
here.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Palmer. So Councilmember Palmer now has Affordable
2.
Housing, I'm sorry, Affordable Housing Advisory Commission as well as Race Equity Truth Plaque Task Force. Mayor Pro Tem now, where are you now? Did you find whatever you were looking for? Did you? I don't want to forget.
Yeah. I'm good. I guess I was a little bit wrong-footed about Councilmember Frey's point with 3 within the 9. I guess was exclusive of the intergovernmental
So
bodies.
sorry, I didn't mean to set you off with the numbering.
That's all right. All to say, I'm comfortable. I love all of my boards equally, but would be equally willing to share any board.
MPO maybe?
Oh, no, I mean, I'm good with MPO. I mean, that's a bit of a tough lift, and I am fully remote. I've spoken with Jason because I know that he's got his transportation interest with his education, but the Tuesday morning thing, that's tough, and I've got that blocked every morning or every month rather, and yeah, I think for now, my understanding is we're okay there. Maybe when Jason's schedule permits, it might make sense. And I'm happy to offer that now as an alternate, but I think it sounds like there's not the availability, and so I'm happy to cover it.
Okay, thanks for that. I am not with the Orange County Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. That is Haven O'Donnell solely. We both are still trying to do the swag, although we haven't had a meeting lately. Orange County Partnership to End Homelessness Leadership Team removed me. That is Councilmember Frey. Orange County Local Government Affordable Housing Collaborative, we have Merrill only. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Councilmember Merrill. I am the Metropolitan Mayor's Coalition. Intergovernmental Parks Work Group is Frey. Have you had a meeting?
They have not met since I was seated on the board.
Okay, moving on. Family Success Alliance Advisory Council.
That's me.
Posada. You're okay. Danny just spoke to the MPO. Chatham Orange Joint Planning Task Force, Posada.
I have not heard of the meetings on this one, so I would want to double check that.
Oh.
Folks know I'm on that, so that I can attend those meetings.
Okay, so Mr. Joyner, can you find out what's going on with that?
I remember we had received one invite and I went to that one, but then I haven't gotten
another one?
Yeah.
So do you need to follow up, or do you need Mr. Joyner to follow up?
Mr. Joyner, we can follow up. That'd be great. And then if I need to do anything with them,
So
I can
you're
follow
gonna
up.
stay there?
Yeah, I'm fine to saying that one. That's
Chapel Hill Public Transit Committee, Transit Partners, Haven O'Donnell and Merrill, I believe, are still interested in being there. Chamber.
I do have a scheduling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I do have a scheduling conflict with that one, at least for a few more months. So if but there are both of us. So I mean,
Okay,
I feel like
so-
we can, between the two of us, we can cover it. But if somebody else is interested and available,
I feel like we're not quite done weighing Councilmember Palmer down.
3? What's the
I've got-
frequency of the meeting again?
it's once a quarter.
Once
Or no, it's
it's
one
once a
in
month.
right once,
Once a
but
month.
two of them are
Two are remote.
and one per quarter that's in person.
In person.
He's looking. I don't know.
I believe
And
we
I-
should
I
walk out of
currently
here with at least 2 of the intergovernmental ones in addition to the town advisory boards.
Wow.
Just getting everything distributed evenly.
Boy.
Wait,
Oh, rough.
so which one were we just?
Transit Partners,
Oh, okay.
Chapel Hill.
Right.
Transit. You want to be a question mark there?
Sure. I mean, if you want to,
It's 10 to 12 on, what is it, the third Wednesday?
10 a.m. to 12 a.m. on the third Wednesday.
Third, or wait.
That's actually
Thursday?
eminently doable for me.
Okay, let me make sure it's not a
And
Thursday.
then that night you're going to have.
You'll be doubled up because then you'll have AHAC.
Oh, that's AHAC
third
too, in
Wednesday
the
as well.
afternoon.
Hold
Is
on,
that
that's
okay?
a very neat package.
Third Wednesday, but you know.
Is it
But the in-person one is where?
Here.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
of the
can do
transit
it.
partners?
No, AHAC.
No, the transit partners one.
Transit partners is at Millhouse.
Is it Wednesday or Thursday?
I'm trying to find
I
out.
want to see.
Well, when y'all find it, we'll roll back to that and let me know. Central Pines, we know is Councilmember Haven O'Donnell.
Thursdays.
So it's on Thursday.
Thursday.
Like,
So y'all will work that out.
Okay.
TAB is Merrill, which is,
and I can stick with that. I don't want to overload.
Stormwater is Now, he's fine. Recreation, Parks, and Cultural, Now is fine. Race Equity, Fushi and Palmer. Planning, which also includes INTAC, Frey. Environmental Advisory Board, Climate Action. Did we say Posada and Haven O'Donnell? Is that what we're doing? What are we doing?
Yeah,
that what we're doing?
Councilmember Haven will want to be a part of that one.
So the two of you.
There's also, and it's not on here, I'm the representative to the Orange County Climate Council.
Let Mr. Joyner, did you get that?
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Making sure.
Economic Sustainability, Haven O'Donnell and Merrill. Is that still okay?
Yes.
And Board of Adjustment, we know that's Frey. AHAC, which is also Human Services,
Will now be Palmer.
will be Palmer. I probably will come for Human Services as well.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Do you want to be listed? Is that what
Yeah, you can go
okay.
ahead and list me there. Orange County Climate Council, Haven O'Donnell.
Wait, where was human services? That's one of these.
Human services. Oh, it's not on the list. Is that? Oh, it's folded
Human
into something.
Services is folded under
Affordable
Housing
housing.
Advisory Commission.
And that's
Oh, I see it on the separate sheet. Okay. Yeah.
Got it?
Yes.
Yeah, so I will do that, at least the Human Services, I may do, but at least, yeah. Yeah, we'll do that,
Madam Mayor,
yes.
just a note that as Councilmember Nowell mentioned, we had a discussion with Councilmember Merrill about him swapping in as the alternate once his schedule clears. I'm happy to serve as, for DCHCMPO.
Oh, for the TPO.
I'm happy to continue to serve as Danny's alternate for the time being.
But then it's gonna switch to Merrill at some point.
So that'd be like May.
If we could just bring that back May-ish so we can make that swap.
But right now, it's Now and Frey. Okay, so keep that in mind. Do we want to have this to come back on consent once, give Mr. Joyner a chance to get all this together?
Yes,
make sure
please.
everybody's where they should be.
Yes, please,
Mr.
Madam
Joyner,
Mayor.
that sound okay?
That's fine. That's perfect.
Okay. I'm assuming Mayor Pro Tem now has nothing else. I'm trying not to forget he's on the phone. He doesn't have anything else. Everybody else?
I'm good.
I believe we are at the end of our agenda for the evening. We are at the end. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn the meeting.
Y'all are
All in
quick.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, I know. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.